Hello everyone, my name is Yuta Jazz, and I am going to talk about soulmates as well. I thought I was gonna have this topic quite later on, but I have been thinking about it quite a lot recently, so probably there's gonna be a need to blow the misconceptions out the window about soulmates because there are a lot. Honestly, since I even met a bunch of my soulmates, like in the last 3 years, I've tied the knot on learning all the misconceptions about soulmates. And it's really interesting to me how when we're talking about like karmic soulmates, karmic relationships and soulmate relationships, it's like excluding them completely and making them separate and saying almost like karmics are bad and then soulmates are only good, which that's not really true. That's not true. Soulmates are they're somehow connected to you. They have a history with you. Soulmates relate through past lives. They relate through repeating stories. They relate through common dynamics or reoccurring contracts. They basically show up to do kinda either the same thing that they've always agreed to help each other with, or whatever else there might be. I guess like if they've agreed to help each other with the same issue, it's kind of like slowly chipping away over lifetimes across different incarnations of different planets and galaxies to make it easier eventually to completely break a pattern or completely transform an aspect or completely come together internally within your oversoul or soul consciousness, to come into more self-acceptance, I guess, right? But another thing that I have not really heard too much of recently, maybe a few times, which I was like, thank God there's more of this conversation happening, but even then not a lot and not in detail, but I've heard a bit about it, is soulmates are here to help you learn really hard freaking lessons. That is true. Soulmates are definitely here to help us not just feel more connected to ourselves, to each other, to the planet, to our interests, to our inherent values, and to see them in in the external, to have them reaffirmed, to find company in that. It's not just that. It's also a case of soulmates are there for you to learn your hardest lessons that you're just afraid to go through or can't really do with just randos, right? You need someone to have that entry point. You have to need someone to have that access to your heart, really, primarily. Maybe it's not just the heart, but they have access. They know you, they feel you, they have a history with you. They actually feel you to a deeper extent than other people, and you will feel them to a deeper extent than other people. Maybe there's a bit of a wall there or a hazy veil where you can't necessarily feel it too good, feel it too well, or be conscious about it. But either way, they know how to poke your buttons, they know how to trigger you, and they know how to have intense experiences with you, for better or for worse. Which all of it is kind of the same anyway. Hard lesson to learn, but it is kind of sometimes just all the same. So yeah, don't expect soulmates to just be only great or good or whatever, especially if you're trying to do readings for yourself or to guess your fortune or to manifest someone, and then you're just pushing for like a soulmate and trying to avoid karma and karmic dynamics and all of that. You're probably not gonna do that because soulmates have past lives. They have stories. They have a deep connection. They have this like reservoir of experiences and conversations that they've had. And if, let's say, there's something negative or there's something heavier there, right, it's gonna keep coming back until it's closed out, until there's closure, acceptance, and then there's a alchemical change within both of those different souls, both of those different people, both of those different aspects. Because a lot of light workers and star seeds and whatever are so out of the norm here, because they're so yearning for home and companionship and other things, um, soulmates are like viewed as a blessing. You know, they're like one of the best things that can happen on the journey, especially if you're starting out and you've never met someone like that. That is true, but there's a but. There needs to be an acceptance that soulmates, it's kind of like they have a duty to each other to help each other in the journey and be that space and that company to make mistakes or to review the mistakes you've made, you've had, and then experience them in a connection that means and matters so much, where you can't help but take accountability. You can't help but feel ashamed, guilty, or painful for how you might have treated someone else that matters that much, that really connected to you, that there's infinite love there beyond whatever has happened, right? Soulmates are just as impactful together as they are apart, because when they separate, that breakup, it doesn't make you revert into more toxicity or defensiveness or fear. When the soulmate actually hits you, you take it. You fucking feel it, and it's real, and it changes you, because you have no other option than to just be completely conscious and aware of who they were, what they've like meant to you, what they still mean to you, and how even maybe before meeting them, as you've been with them, and after you've broken up with them, that you've had these unhealthy behaviors that no one could have shown you, no one could have made an impact with, no one could have called you out on unless you had this experience. And it is hard to accept that not all soulmates are going to be a fun, great experience. That doesn't necessarily mean that every soulmate, you know, connection is going to be karmic, but there is a decent percentage of them that can have a positive contract written up before they go on to you know, the relationship, to meeting each other, to starting to do these projects and everything else together, right? But then because of the intensity of the connection, because there's also work being done on the personal psyche, personal energies, personal identity and view of self, right? That's a big one, right? If you finally find someone that's relating to you and you vibe with, and you've never met someone that like that, you're gonna start unmasking who you've acted to be previously. And usually your soulmate is on the same level. Sometimes one is a guide and the other is a more of a, you know, student, but they're all kind of the same, but still, you know what I mean, mentor, mentee. But a lot of the time, so it's even Stevens and clear cut, people are gonna be on the same level and then they're just gonna break off. But you will still also, as I said, have someone that is a bit more aware, a bit more okay to take the hit, the hard hit, right? That it might become of this connection, or to lead the journey within the dynamic, right? To make those calls. And then you'll have the person that's kind of like experiencing and seeing things, and then eventually has all of that information like coming into one and their awareness and processing through, so they shift and change and elevate. And then the other person just kind of goes away, holding space for them, holding compassion, holding love. And there's different iterations of this. I'm not just saying, you know, only two or three or whatever, however many I'm gonna mention. But I am outlining the point that they're not always just gonna be great or fun or easy or feel like home. Maybe they'll feel like home to begin with, but they'll feel like a bit of a headache and pressure going forward or towards the end of the journey. Soulmates are great in helping you accept who you are, how you are, and that you can stand up for yourself and that you are not really tied to anyone. You're no one's bitch. No one's your bitch as well. And that love sometimes isn't enough just because you match, you come from the same past lives, you have deep connections, you have a lot of history with each other. That doesn't mean that it's gonna be smooth sailing or good, right? It doesn't mean that the person's actually gonna choose right in valuing you and acting right by you, right? Maybe they need that space and realizing like, oh, I love intensely and a lot, but I do not make the right choices in that headspace. I think I need to shift and change a bit, right? Or another dynamic can be, I need to stand my ground and stop being so nice, so caring, so loving for these people that I absolutely adore and will forever adore, right? This carries over to higher realms. This isn't just like a earth plane thing. This isn't just a contract where a stage is like set and you just act it out and that's it. It's all cool and gravy and whatever. Nah, that transformation is up there as well. As above, so below. Your souls might be going through something insane, intense up there. And as quickly as you came together, that's how hard you smashed apart as well. And if you've ever, if you've been in the spiritual community for a while, you might have heard the term or the saying of, you need to be cracked open or broken to actually start coming together the right way, which is, I know how it sounds and how it feels, guys. It's but the only real things that transform us in our lives is the stuff that we really care about, that we really feel, that we can't control, that we can't just put together as a specific story and it'll stay like that, right? It's things that we are lost in love with and have the chance of losing. It's the stuff that really makes us look at ourselves for who we are and who we want to be. And within soulmate dynamics, you do learn together, like, the common energy that you're both of that unites you. The similarities, the same interests, the attractions, the values, everything. But also there's an importance in how does that transform, right? How does that energy collective, those soulmates, those aspects of, you, me, whoever, transform and transcend into, I don't know, whatever it is, the next level. I don't want to say better or worse or whatever, because the next level can be anything. You might transform through soulmate relationships into a fantasy land where you're more compassionate, more caring towards other people, more understanding of pain, right? More aware of meeting other soulmates and how to treat that and how to go about that, right? But there's also the other side of being sent into deep shadow work, into deep, deep self-loathing, self-pain, self a lot, self-confusion, disconnection. You can be sent into a place where you are questioning the entirety of your identity and who you thought you were and who you truly are and what needs to be done about that. That's the power of soulmates. And we need both. We can't just expect it to be just one thing or a good thing or whatever. You know, sometimes you're gonna have soulmates come together to clear like karma, to clear the trauma, because both are aware like, we're ready, we can do this, we're gonna do this, we're gonna sign up for it. But that also doesn't sometimes happen. Like, everything's being created as we go down here. Nothing's really set. There is understanding in the higher realms of how things can play out and what's more likely to happen than not. But there's also a lot of room left for the unknown. There's just also preparation and awareness around the unknown, not like how we're down here blind as chickens sometimes, right? Just because you have a soulmate doesn't mean they're gonna stay. They might be that intense connection you need for the temporary moment in time. If you've lost a soulmate, know that that connection doesn't really go anywhere. It doesn't disappear. It doesn't, like, break. There might be toxicity in the air. There might be some weird astral shit happening and healing and clearing and, you know, like, shadow work, I guess. But ultimately, that love is infinite. It stays, and that's the thing that really keeps soulmates as soulmates, that can go apart and come back together. If, you know, the energy's right, if the time's right, whatever. In general, just like, imagine, you know, you've had these many lifetimes, and some of them you've carried over here, and you've signed up to walk with people, meet people, try maybe again, maybe try anew, you know, try from ground zero, but with the right company, right? But what do you have on the other side of this amazing desire, this amazing idea, this amazing goal of growth? You have work. You have the nasty bits. You have the truth of, like, okay, where is it working? Where is it not working, right? Who I've been, who I want to become, who I am actually at my heart and my core, and who am I actually not, but I thought that this is the right way to live because this is safe. I found people this way. It felt easy, it felt natural or something, or it was just easy to go for it, you know, like inhibitions and ego. That's kind of automatic sometimes, and we all have it. Or did you have the conscious awareness of, I need someone real to fix my shit, you know? Who's done that? Kudos to you. That's not an easy decision. That is not an easy decision. But you might have actually been one of those people that signed up to meet a soulmate because you knew you needed someone to be there for you in the company, to feel like you have the environment, the space, the mirroring, the chemistry in friendship, romance, or otherwise. Family's a common one, right? To see everything just written on the wall for you, to stop avoiding it, to be there, to have to be there, to sit there with no excuse of running away, ignoring it, or weaseling your way out of it because it's happened enough, right? And you said you were ready to learn. Where are you still codependent, toxic, demanding, controlling, where you've had blind sides? And we all have blind sides. The beautiful thing, if this is coming across as only negative, as only something that I'm like preaching, I don't know, just hard stuff about, no, I'm talking about the beauty of soulmates, guys. Like, how beautiful is it to have someone to go a journey with you that is okay in seeing your shadow, your trauma, your pain, in giving you the space to say the wrong things to the people you love, to stop doing it, to release the hang-ups of like, I have to act like this, I gotta do this, I have only these relationships as my dynamics and nothing else. To break through all of that and to be loved through that, and to be cared for and to actually have someone going through their own stuff in relation to your journey. How beautiful is that? Like, on this planet, we do forget, because of the dichotomy of good and bad, black and white, and whatever the fuck else, that a lot of the beauty here is having the company and companionship and being real with ourselves because we were with someone real, living something real. You know what I mean? Like, it's amazing. It's a blessing. It's hard. Sometimes it's freaking shitty as hell. But it's essentially needed because we can't just sit in our rooms and figure it out. We can't just meet surface level people and be like, it's alright, whatever. You know, like, most of the times we're not gonna look into that. It's just gonna be like, oh, they did that, I do this, it's fine. Like, no one can be really blamed for anything, everything's tit for tat. Nah, we need someone to stop us in our tracks, make us freaking feel, and have it inescapable. It's important. We need catalysts like that. That's the point of being here. It's the good times, it's the awesome times, it's the love, it's the care, it's the intense, you know, positivity, and the deeper care and respect and creativity, you know, co-creating together. But it's also the bad stuff. It's also the hard things that are traumatic. If you've ever been in a abusive relationship, I should have actually said freaking trigger warning. Trigger warning, I'm not done yet. I mean, if you clicked on this video, you probably already know that this is gonna be triggering. But if you've ever been in a shit situation in your life, either a breakup, either a toxic relationship and abuse, self-abuse with substances, you know, ignorance and being a workaholic, or, I don't know, everything's falling apart in your life and you're becoming, like, dysfunctional, right? How amazing is it to have a single person, even just a single person? If you have a community, even fucking better, right? But how amazing is it to have a person there with you? It's the best thing ever. Someone goes with you. Someone sees you. Someone shows you love. Maybe they're, you know, a bit messed up themselves, but they try. And, you know, while you know, those two parties are going through something or messed up or whatever, you want to say, which all of these things, I'm not saying it in a negative light. I'm saying these things are sometimes just how we feel, what we experience, what we go through in life. It doesn't have to be bad. It can actually be beautiful. It's just, you know, a bit dark, a bit painful. But it is beautiful still. It's a blessing because you have company. You are going through something with someone. You're learning, you're growing, you know, you're transforming. And you're not stuck in one place by yourself, looping on the same shit. You have someone going it too. And that's the beauty of soulmates, you know. There are good soulmates that are gonna be there for the happy ever after, and you're still, you know, gonna have challenges and other things, but they kind of seem pretty manageable, I guess. They seem like pretty obvious in what you have to do, how to progress through it, even if you don't want it, like it, or a bit stubborn. A lot of the time we're gonna be like, yeah, you know, let's just go through it. Get through it. We've worked so hard to even meet each other, be together, you know, after this amount of time, or because I feel so much for you, there's nothing that we can't do together to shift and change and evolve and all of that. But there's also the other side that I just spoke about, and that's also a huge part of soulmate journeys. I guess you could argue that all karmic relationships are soulmate relationships, but that's also, I feel like, a misconception. We can touch on that another video because I'm already kind of talking more than I expected. But the soulmates are there for big transformations, and you don't really know which way or how it's going to go. You try your best, and they're the catalyst for the stuff that needs to stick. It needs to penetrate our walls. It needs to penetrate our ego, our disassociation, our walls, or everything, right? It needs to pierce us and touch us so much to the heart that we can't help but actually connect with who we are and transform, be who we truly are. Take accountability for it. Take responsibility in our own lives and our own relationships. So, yeah, I hope that helps. I did not expect these topics today, guys. I'm just as shocked as you are if you're shocked. But that being said, thank you so much for showing up here and liking, commenting, subbing. I really appreciate it. It's nice to have a community growing together here of like-minded souls, individuals, and I am excited to keep creating more of these talk videos, more of the pickup piles, more of everything, and, you know, stepping into this. And having, you know, your company, your viewership. It's freaking awesome, man. I really appreciate it. So, if you want to check out more of my stuff, click on the channel, click on the Linktree link below that has my Twitch, Etsy. I'm not posting on Instagram, but there's a backlog of stuff, of poetry and other things that you can check out there. Yeah, and gaming as well. I do gaming. I'm gonna start saying this. I do gaming where I don't just talk about the game and don't just like commentate games. I actually do go on spiritual riffs, on philosophical discussions, or answer questions that relate to the journey of life, or spiritual experiences. So it's wacky, fun entertainment while sharing, you know, the journey of the game, the art of the stories that are created through amazing developers that we have on this planet, and me just sharing my experience and what is going through my head, which might be anything at the current point in time. So, yeah. I love you lots, and I'm sending you appreciation and compassion for wherever you are in the world, for whatever you're going through, regardless of who you are, and I wish you the very best, and hope to see you next time. Peace!